Hey neighbors, welcome to this second video as we continue our experience of exploring the way of peace and joy. I hope that you found the first session meaningful with our sharing on the topic of emptying, and in our next session together we're going to be focused on the light, and the questions for discussion are a reflection of this concept that comes out of the readings from this week that you will see Jesus articulated as the good spiritual friend who helps us to be empty and helps us to experience the light that is made manifest through connection. The experience of the way of peace and joy emerges out of emptiness through connection with the help of divine grace. The light is made manifest through connection. That is our theme for the week. The light is made manifest through connection, and Jesus is our good spiritual friend who can help us to grow in our awareness of that light of love, peace, joy, compassion, belonging that is made manifest through connection. I have a quarantine story to share with you. I was around Christmas time, after avoiding it for 3 years, I came down with COVID. And I decided very quickly that I needed to isolate myself from Erin, hoping that she wouldn't get it. And so I was living at one corner of the house in the guest room, and Erin was living in the rest of the house. And ironically, this was the time when I was digging the deepest into my exploration personally of the emptying meditation as a core spiritual practice in the way of peace and joy. And I effectively brought myself, using that image of the glass filled with water with mud particles in it, I had a couple of times a day brought myself to the point where I felt, okay, my mud has settled. My thoughts, my feelings, my desires, my emotions have settled, and the water has become clear. I'm feeling empty in that way of peace and joy sense of the word. Well, the light emerges out of emptiness. That's the way this practice goes. But I was not experiencing that light of joy. I was not experiencing the light of joy. And I was wondering why. Am I doing something wrong? Well, I came to find out exactly what, not that I was doing wrong, but what was missing. A week later, when I was still dealing with symptoms of COVID, and Erin had also caught COVID, and when we realized we both had it, I thought, there's no sense in isolating now. And so I emerged from my isolation room, and it was when we reconnected, when we started to spend more time together in closer physical proximity, that I realized, wow, there's the joy. There's the joy that I was missing. And it was a more profound sense of joy for two reasons. One, because I had allowed myself to become empty, and two, well, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I think that was true after a week of isolation. And so the light of joy was made manifest through connection. In my quarantine experience, Jesus was empty. I believe that Jesus was empty in the way of peace and joy sense of the word. Jesus was able to really see people and understand people's needs. One of the stories that jumps out at me from the story of Jesus is that story of the blind beggar who called out to Jesus from the crowd. Now, I'll picture this. I mean, there's a massive crowd of people around Jesus, not much moving room for Jesus because everybody's pressing in on him from all sides. Everybody's shouting and celebrating that he's there. And somehow, because Jesus was in that place of relational emptiness, he was able to be fully present to the situation around him, to be able to identify one voice amidst that great crowd, that one voice crying out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." And so Jesus hears the blind beggar, identifies him where he is in the crowd, and through his connection with that individual, Jesus gifts him and everyone else in that crowd in that moment an experience of the light, of love, of joy, of compassion, of peace. Jesus was empty, and Jesus was able to bring that purest of light, of love, joy, peace, and compassion to be made manifest through connection. Jesus brought the light of love, of peace, of joy, and compassion. In his ministry, the light was made manifest through connection. In my quarantine story, the light was made manifest through connection. In our experiences of the way of peace and joy, the light is made manifest through connection. The kind of connection through which the light is made manifest doesn't have to be physical connection, I don't think. It can just as well be a taste, a smell, or a sound. Think about your own experiences of the light of love, peace, joy, and compassion. Think about who was a part of that moment with you, that you connected with relationally, whether it be a human, an animal, a forest. The light of joy can be made manifest in your perception of the voice of a little bird who gifts you with its song in the middle of your emptying meditation. The light is there, within us, even in our longing for the light, when we have yet to experience the tangibility of the light in relation with our neighbors. Even before that, in our longing for the light, the divine spirit has sparked something within us and is present just as much in the longing as in the experience. So the light is there, within us, all around us. The practice of emptying meditation primes us to become aware of the light. And so this week, I want to invite you to continue to engage in the practice of emptying meditation. Do what feels right for you. Maybe it's a daily practice, maybe it's something you do a couple times a day, maybe it's something you do every other day. Continue to engage in that practice of emptying meditation, going through the steps of asking for divine assistance. And I really like this image of Jesus as the good spiritual friend. Yes, I share the belief of with mainline Christianity of Jesus being Lord, Jesus being the saving one of God. I love this image of Jesus, and I love this image of Jesus as the good spiritual friend. It's been deeply meaningful to me on this part of the journey. And so, as I've stated before, in my engagement of asking for divine assistance, I always pray something like, Jesus, good spiritual friend, help me to be empty, help me to see, help me to love. So ask for divine assistance, engage in that moment of centering, focusing on your breath to help you be aware that you are in this present moment and nowhere else. And then stepping into or flowing into the image of standing on the riverbank, observing your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and letting them flow down the river and come back around again, I'm sure. And then to segue into that image of the glass of water with mud particles in it, and to allow things to settle, for the mud to settle and your water to become clear. and through that settling, you eventually find that you have entered into the place of emptiness. So continue your practice of emptying this week. But here's one thing in addition. Notice the light. Notice where you are experiencing the light of love, peace, joy, compassion, belonging. It can be during your meditation. It can be at any other time during your life this week. Notice where Jesus, our good spiritual friend, is helping you to become aware of where the light is made manifest in connection with other living beings in your life this week. Well, I really enjoyed our first session together. Some really good sharing, some of which was really helpful to me and helped me to see things from a different perspective. And so I thank you for that. I thank you for your sharing. I value you, and I'm thankful for your participation, and I'll look forward to our getting together next week. I hope that you find meaning in this video and in the questions that I'll be presenting in this email to reflect upon as you engage in the practice of meditation and do this week's readings. I'll see you next week.